Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. All right, so today's video is about projecting your profits for your midterm rental for year number 2 or beyond. Okay, so my last video we talked about how to reevaluate your midterm rental when your first year is almost up. If you're doing rental arbitrage, when your lease is about to end, we start projecting to see, or looking back, excuse me, to see what has happened in our business to make those decisions of whether or not we should be moving forward and keeping the property, or if we need to get rid of that property if it's just not working out, right? So this video, we are now saying, okay, we're keeping the property. Right? This goes for rental arbitrage, and it also goes for if you own a property, right? Because I mean, again, if you own a property, then you still have options and choices if you choose not to use it as a midterm rental, but you can still decide either way if you want to keep it as a midterm rental for year two and beyond. All right. So let me go ahead. I'm going to walk you through the steps I take to project out year 2 and beyond, but we're focusing on year 2, but you should be doing this every single year. Okay. All right. So first we're going to review our income and expenses, and you've already done that because we talked about that in the last video. So you should be reviewing your annual income and expenses to see what that was, right? Now you're going to pay attention to the months and the seasons to see how much you were able to charge. So if you've been tracking that spreadsheet or tracking your numbers on a spreadsheet or either in an accounting software, you should be able to see when you had to raise your rates up or when you had to put them down a little bit because you needed to fill some vacancies. Take a look at the seasonality, okay, and see when you had to make an adjustments to make sure your property was filled. Now, you just look back over the previous year. So an example would be here where I am. We have 4 seasons, right? So it gets cold in the winter, and that's when people don't really want to be here because it's cold and they don't want to deal with the snow, the ice, and all of that stuff, right? So during those times, I had to reduce my rates because I needed to make sure my properties were filled. That is just normal. That happens in the whole hospitality industry in general. If you are experiencing seasonality, you have to pay attention to that, right? So, what were those months where I had to reduce my rents, right? What were those months where I was able to get a bang for my buck and increase those rents? Pay attention to that because that is going to allow you to project out again for the next year what to expect. When should your rents go up and when they should go down, how much you can charge, how much you cannot charge. You'll get a great idea from just looking back at the previous year. Another important part of tracking your numbers. All right. Then you're going to take a look at your expenses in regards to, again, your fixed expenses. Go ahead and project that out for 12 months. So if you looked at my last video, remember I talked about fixed expenses, which would be your rent or mortgage, your utilities, your insurance. Okay. Those are all fixed. Those don't change. They're not going anywhere, right? Now, utilities can go up or down, but if you do it the way I tell you guys to do it or follow some of my tips, it should pretty much stay the same or very similar if possible, if your utility company works with you, right? So you can project that out. In addition, you need to add in a certain amount that you would have as miscellaneous. So, what would miscellaneous be? Miscellaneous would be those one off repairs that may have to happen, or, when you have to replace some linens or, replace some items, glasses are broken, things like that. Now, sometimes those do come out of deposits, but sometimes, like for me, I don't even take it out the deposit. It's just not that big of a deal. So, like a broken glass, I'm not really going to take that out the deposit. Some people may. I'm not. I'm just going to go buy some more glasses and it'll just come out of the miscellaneous. So, you do want to have a certain amount for miscellaneous. And remember, as I've told you guys in the past, reserves, you don't know how much in reserves you would really, really need to have. But if you kind of have a number in mind based off of looking at last year, how much reserves you kind of needed, then you may want to go with that same number. Okay. So reserves will cover if you have a vacancy, you need to cover a rent for part of the month until the next person comes in or something like that. That's usually what my reserves are for if I have a gap. and I can't fill that gap because short-term rentals aren't allowed, or I just don't want it to interfere with anything, then I pretty much have to cover part of the rent. A lot of the times, the next person that comes in basically pays me back because I'm charging more than what I'm paying, right, for rent. So it always kind of balances out. Sometimes I may be in a little bit of a negative, but it always turns around in the end, right? So that's what reserves are for. So you're going to look at those expenses and project those out for the year based off of what happened last year. And you're going to simply take those totals and you're going to do the same thing as you did with the reevaluating your midterm rental. You're going to take the estimated projected income and you're going to subtract out your estimated projected expenses and see what your profit will be per property. Okay. Now, if you want to break this down, of course, to see what you should be receiving per month, break that down, divide it by 12. 12 months in a year, just divide it by 12. That's simple, right? All right. If that number is your desired minimum profit, great. Okay? That's keep it going. You're doing good, right? If that number may be a little bit less than your desired profitable rate, then you make a decision, because is it that big of a deal? Are you still making a decent profit? Because we have to consider things that are going on outside of us, right? So rents have increased. I know when I've renewed a couple of leases, my rents increased, right? But I wasn't necessarily able to increase my rents for my midterm rental guests because the market didn't support it, right? So you kind of have to make those decisions. You may not be making exactly what you originally thought as your minimum profit, but you're still making a decent profit, right? So that is up to you. I can't tell you what you're comfortable with, but just keep that in mind. But that will allow you to see what you should be expecting. It will allow you to also prepare and start adjusting your rates. Know what your rates should be at what times of the year. Now, throughout the year, you still need to look at the market. Look at the midterm rental market and see what everybody is charging to make sure your rates are competitive. You still have to do that, but things should not change that much. I know for myself, I'm actually losing on a property right now because I lowered my rates because I needed to fill the property, and that person decided to extend, and I did not necessarily increase the rates. But it's okay because it was still like the lower season when she decided to extend. So now we are getting into a higher season where I'm able to charge way more. So when her lease is up, I'm going to definitely increase that and start recouping that money. So now I know what to do. I know how to prepare for this particular property because, again, it's year one for this property. So I know how to prepare for year two so that I can get the most profit as possible. Okay. All right. Now, if you want an example of how I do all of this and show you, you want to see a tutorial, that will be in the Rental Revenue Builders membership. Okay. So if you want to join that membership, that link is below. Also, the spreadsheet that I use will also be in that membership. So you can use that, download it, and make it your own so that you can track your expenses on the spreadsheet if that's what you choose to do. That will be there for you in the membership as well. Okay. All right. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe because I am continuing to bring you more information about midterm rentals and rentals in general. I'm going to expand and talk more about rentals in general because that's what I have experience in. I started off in long-term rentals, went into short-term rentals, and now I am into midterm rentals. Still have long-term rentals that I hold, and I love them. They bring me that consistent money. But yes, I don't do short-term rentals anymore just because of the amount of work that's into it, and midterm rentals fits my lifestyle better now. So that's what I choose to do. But if I had to do short-term rentals to, make some ends meet, or, if it was just a great opportunity, I would definitely do it if I needed to do it, right? But not on all my properties, maybe just on one or two. I'm not about that hard work life. I'm not trying to be in properties all the time and manage all of that. No, I'm not trying to do that anymore. So make sure you continue to follow me if you want to join the Rental Revenue Builders membership. We're talking all things about rentals in that membership. If you want to learn more about it, different ways to acquire rentals, and real estate investing in general, go ahead and join that membership. And I will see you there, and I'll see you in my next video as well. All right, bye.